There.
Perfect. Perfect.
Goodness. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome. Sorry about the technical issues we've had here. This is being recorded so that we can send it to all of those who have registered and signed up for this. Being that it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon, not everybody's able to attend an earlier session. I'm Renee, owner and travel advisor at Red Orchid Travel. On behalf of myself and my team, thank you so much for joining us here. Can I just ask a little housekeeping that you ensure your microphones are muted so that we can have the seminar flow here, or the webinar flow. If you have any questions, feel free to save them until the end for a Q&A. You can place them in the chat as we go along. But also, just letting someone else in here. Tonight we're excited to introduce our Springtime in Paris River Cruise, which is actually AKA Avalon's Active and Discovery on the Seine River. We will be sailing June the 15th and 2026. And this experience has been designed especially for Red Orchid travelers, and the beautiful season that happens in springtime in Paris. It's delightful. Most people like to go in springtime before it gets too hot in the summer. So this is perfect. It's just, I think, the perfect time to go anywhere along this itinerary. So I'm very pleased also to welcome our Avalon Waterways expert, Maurizio, who will be guiding us through the highlights of this trip and sharing what makes Avalon your standout choice. So let's dive in, take a look at what this beautiful trip has to offer. Hello, Maurizio. Thank you
Hello,
for
Renee.
joining me.
Hello, Renee. Thank you so much for having me. I love doing these events with you, Renee. Thank you so much for all the effort behind the scenes to make it happen. Yeah, as you mentioned, we're going to have a bit of fun with you guys talking about cruising with Avalon Waterways. And then we're going to toggle over to Renee's website, which I'm sure you've all been on already. But we're going to highlight that springtime in Paris. And to Renee's point, what a beautiful time of the year to visit Paris, visit really anywhere in Europe, but to be in France in that springtime is truly spectacular. So like I mentioned, I thought we'd have a little bit of fun, Renee, with the group, including, from what I understand, not everyone has ever done a river cruise in terms of your clientele and what have you. So I thought it'd be fun. Normally in person, I ask, show of hands, who's been on a Avalon Waterways or a river cruise? And if not too many hands come up, I often ask, who wants to go on one right now? So why don't we go on one right now? Do you like that idea, Renee?
I love it. I'm
All
already
right,
there.
so let's go for it. I'm gonna quickly, if my slides advance, oh, sorry. Here we go.
Exciting and new. Come aboard. We're expecting you and love. Life's sweetest reward. Let it flow. It floats back to you. The love boat. Soon we'll be making another run. The love boat promises something for everyone. Set a course for adventure. Your mind's on a new romance. And love won't hurt anymore. It's an open smile. Oh, friendly shore. It's love. Welcome aboard. It's love.
So the reason why we like playing that video, it never gets old, by the way, that video. But we love playing that because that's the complete opposite of what would happen on an Avalon Waterways cruise. As you all know, we're all about safety. We're all about making sure none of those mishaps happen on the water. In fact, one of the cruise directors that we had a couple of years back, she did a fantastic job with the safety briefing that you would all have to go through, on board in the big lounge at the front of the ship. But she said, look, there could be the odd circumstance where, the ship is sinking, I wanted to reassure you guys that everything's going to be fine. In fact, go to the bar, grab a drink, and I'll meet you on the top deck. Because what she was referring to is 9 times out of 10, the depth of the water, we will bottom out before the top deck is even submerged. So very, very, very safe environment. Yeah. Nothing really to worry about. Those mishaps, we're gonna, make sure none of that happens. To give you a brief history of Avalon Waterways and who we are, we're definitely not a fly-by-night company. We're represented by the Globus family of brands. So there's plenty of history behind the Globus family, including the fact that we began in 1928 with a little rowboat of Lake Lugano, to know that we've gone full circle back on the water with Avalon Waterways after doing many, many years of coach touring that we still do on land. Avalon Waterways came around in 2004. So from 2004 till now, we've done a lot. As you can see here, we have 77 countries, 77 cruises rather, 11 rivers and 24 countries. From 2004 to 2011, to give you an idea, in 2011, we revamped all our ships. All of our ships went through a complete refurbish. And what we did was we introduced a Panorama Suite that I'm going to definitely highlight through this presentation. But this gives you an idea of what the look and feel of one of these beautiful river cruise ships looks like. Even the locals are still wowed by these ships. As they sail by, people are waving at us, and they are truly beautiful. Year after year, we win this award. The Reader's Choice Award is very tricky to win, so we're very proud of that. This is another hard one to win. It's a Cruise Critic Award. For those of you who have been on cruises, you know that surveys are filled out at the end. And to win this award year after year is huge. So it just goes to show you that at Avalon Waterways, we try to ensure that everything is really done proper and to the right spec. And we're Swiss run and operated as well. A lot of people don't realize that we are family run and operated since 1928. So, generation to generation, it's the Matagazza family that owns the big company that we know, including Avalon Waterways. So it is Swiss out of Lugano, Switzerland. You name the river and we're visiting. So I know today's focus will be in France. However, know that we do pretty much visit every single river, especially in Europe with all the interconnected rivers. This image here, actually, I'm not sure even if it has a brand new Bordeaux experience. I don't think it does, this image. But we hit pretty much all the main rivers. So know that no question is a dumb question. Renee is there to help you in terms of finding the right itinerary to fit your needs. But again, later in this presentation, we're going to toggle over to the website and take you day by day through the France experience. I love showing this slide. It is related to river cruising and why river cruising. For those of you who have not done a river cruise or anything similar, it literally is a floating boutique hotel. You get pretty much everything you'd expect included will be included. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You have beer and wine with lunch and dinner included. We don't nickel and dime. With Avalon Waterways, it's all about like that initial price point that you pay. Pretty much very little out of pocket after that. We're all about including as much as we can. One key point actually that I'm not noticing here, and I may have it, may not have it in the PowerPoint, is Wi-Fi is included as well on the ship. You're hearing more and more often that, depending on the cruise that you're on, you have to buy a Wi-Fi package. I can tell you with Avalon, it's always included, and it's very strong Wi-Fi. We actually use it for conferences and whatnot, so you won't be disappointed with the Wi-Fi on board. And we get it. You want to remain connected. You want to share stories. You want to share video, pictures with family and friends. So why not remain connected when on board? Small ship ambiance. So for those of you on the call, or I know it's being recorded, that have done big ship cruising, this is very different. Here we're looking at 140 to 160 capacity. Very intimate, very interactive, very relaxed and unhurried, right? When you're getting on and off the ship, it is a breeze. Your room key ends up being your security to get on and off. You just tap and the doors open, you sign yourself in, and you're good to go. Because all of that is done on day one. They take a photo of you, they have your passport details. So as soon as you scan your card to enter the ship, the front hotel staff, they see your image and they allow you in. And if that's not matching, they will not allow you in. And again, you do need your room key. Close proximity to shore. I think this is one of the key ingredients to river cruising and the one that I love. You dock and you're literally walking distance to the main square or any type of shopping area. That is the essence of river cruising. The rivers were there way before the roads were, right? So to have the essence of being able to get off the ship, walk into the main square, do all your excursions because they're always included. You have one morning excursion, one afternoon excursion that are included. It's all within walking distance, right? Seasickness, pretty much null and void. Uh, as we've seen that fun video of all the mishaps on the water, but this is very safe and very tranquil in terms of the water. So most often I got to look at the shore to see if we're actually moving. Like it's so quiet, so stable. We talked about the all-inclusive value, and I'll highlight a little more of that later on. Meet like-minded travelers. So, with this group that Renee is hosting, you will become like family by the end of the cruise. You're all going to get to know one another for sure. And great for single travelers or solo travelers as well. Depending on the departure, we try our best to waive single room supplements. This is a group setting that we're working on, so group pricing would apply to Renee's file as well. So you're getting really the best of the best when it comes to pricing. We have a huge fleet of ships, as you can see, and they're all fairly new. How we talked about, we launched in 2004, but doing the revamp in 2011 really refreshed everything, right up to like brand new ships of 2024. On the Douro, for example, in Portugal, that we just launched the Alegria. So constantly revamping. I actually just read an email that came in from head office that we're looking to clean up some of the older ships that you see on the list here. We're going to refurb one more time, just again to keep it a consistent look and feel throughout our whole fleet. We are known for that. We're known for our very modern, contemporary type look and feel and design. So this gives you a better indication as to what you'd be seeing from your room. It's a 7-foot by 11-foot opening with the bed angled toward the water. We removed the balcony to make these panorama suites, which is huge, huge, huge in terms of river cruising. Unheard of actually in our section. You have the regular room, which is the one on the left there at 172 square feet. That one's right at water level. I know Renee and us in the industry, we like to call that the swan view. You're right at water level. That window doesn't open, so totally up to you. It's still a nice spacious room, but I feel that the natural upgrade, and I know that Renee would probably be holding many of these rooms, would be the Panorama Suite. We have 2 levels of the Panorama Suite, which is right in the middle there. And that's 200 square feet. So that additional 28 some odd square feet really does make a difference with that open air and bed angle toward the water. And then we have 2 royal suites per ship, and they're at 300 square feet. So those are pretty big. You have a living room area, 2 TVs, separate bathroom and shower area. It's pretty big for river cruising. And again, there's only 2 per ship, so they tend to fill up quickly. So I'm not sure if we'll be able to get those ones for your particular group, but know that every ship has 2 of those. This is the why behind what we did. So many people like to see kind of the imagery and the why behind what Avalon did back in 2011. Everyone's limited to how wide we can build our ships, right? The governing bodies that oversee everything, the width, the length, the height, it's all determined by them. So especially for the locking system that you can see there on the left image, when you're have 1 foot on either end, but you also have a balcony, something's got to give, right? And usually that space is going to be taken away from in the room. So we decided to ask our clients, how often were you out on the balcony? Did you really enjoy the balcony? 9 times out of 10, they said they were never out on the balcony, and the research showed that they would prefer that space in the room. So that all that brightly colored area there would have been your balcony, now became part of the room. That furniture is all movable with that open air ambiance. But if you can see that angle of the bed, that slight angle created that full-size shower and full-size bathroom behind. So that is huge in itself with Avalon, and again, very unique to us. This is what we offer with all our Avalon Panorama Suites. So again, method to the madness with everything we did, including that slight angle of the wall. So this is what Renee had referred to earlier. We have what we call Avalon Choice. So, depending on what your heart desires, basically on that particular trip, we have classic, we have active and discovery. Leaning toward the active and discovery, it's not about Olympic athlete active, but if you want to do, a hike up to one of the higher vantage points for a photo op or what have you, we have that because we have an adventure host on board all the ships, and he or she will be able to help you out with any of your active needs, whether that's taking out a bike, depending on the river, kayak experience. Again, not Olympic athlete biking or anything, but we could take you on a biking excursion. So that's the active part. And then the discovery is more about the workshops, whether it be a painting workshop or a cocktail workshop. We always incorporate some type of classic type experience as well, because, the typical walking tours of the area, being that you're right in the heart of those cities, you'd be remiss if you didn't do anything like that as well. So it's all about choice, all about variety. And these excursions are included with the initial price that you pay. It's just a matter of which direction you want to lean, and we keep that pretty much wide open for you. We always have the option as well to go in a little bit early and stay a little bit later. So we like highlighting this particular one on the Rhine, where, some clients would want to spend a little more time in Amsterdam, maybe before the cruise, a little more time at the end of the cruise, maybe in Lake Como or wherever they want to visit. So that's always a possibility, including with the group that we have with Renee, adding before or after is not uncommon. In fact, when we toggle over to the website, we can show you where it's easy, but definitely in Paris, right? If you want to go in a little bit early, spend some time in Paris. That way, you're getting rid of the jet lag. You're kind of getting accustomed to your surroundings. Then you get on your cruise, and then maybe you want to do a little bit of that at the end of the cruise as well. So always your choice for sure. With Avalon, it's all about the little things in the room as well. So you're going to be kind of spoiled with the L'Occitane product, the lotions, conditioners, shampoos in the room. We got rid of all the single-use plastic. So this is pump action L'Occitane product in the room. Then we also have the nightly turn down service. So, pillow fluffing, making your beds as you guys are going out for dinner, leave you a little chocolate. But the little things that we add over and above is, let's say on day one, you don't like the way the bed feels, maybe too hard, too soft with a mattress. What we can always do is we can change the topper. The mattress topper can be flipped to either softer or harder to your liking. And the pillows can be changed as well to harder or softer. So again, the little things that I feel go a long way. Including a little fitness center. Every one of our ships has a little fitness center. So if you're on a regular routine that you want to keep up with, by all means, we have that available to you. This gentleman here is enjoying that open air balcony, balcony that's part of the room, with a coffee, because we can also do room service, whether that be breakfast or whatever meal he wants sent up to the room, we could take care of that as well. So yeah, speaking of meals, the dining experience would be really multiple ways of eating through the Avalon cruising. We have the Panorama Bistro, which is the restaurant per se, is at the bottom of the on the lower deck. We also have the the dining room is where you'd be eating like a restaurant, and then the bistro is upstairs in the upper lounge. So what ends up happening is if you don't want to eat heavy that particular night and you don't want to sit in the dining room, you could have pretty much everything they're serving in the dining room, but in the Panorama Bistro. And there it's like a buffet style of what they're eating in the dining room. So a little bit lighter, you can do like not the full entrees, but yeah, sample each of the items that they're eating in the dining room. Sky Grill is seasonal, and springtime in France, it might be open. I can't promise you that the top deck will be open for meals. It'll be open definitely for viewing and everything else, but Sky Grill, like barbecue style grill, is very seasonal. So I have to double check to see if it would be applicable for your particular group, Renee. But it definitely is seasonal, so we can find that out. And then we talked about the room service as well, so you can definitely have that sent up to the room if needed. It's all about Avalon Fresh and Flair. So we have the Rank brothers that created our menu for us. So, you know, when those surveys are filled out for the Cruise Critic Award, 9 times out of 10, they're ranting and raving about the food, gourmet experience through and through. The food is to die for. Little insider tip, and they'll get to know you on the cruise, but you know, if you're contemplating between two entrees, it'll get to the point where they'll send you both. And that's not uncommon, even with the dessert. You know, if you're debating between one or the other, just take both. And again, because it's such a small ambiance, they get to know you near the end of the cruise, and they'll probably just send it to you automatically. We also include complimentary beer and wine. I think I briefly talked about that with the inclusions. And happy hour used to be, we went from charging cocktails at happy hour to half off cocktails. Now they're totally, completely covered. So they're taken care of in your initial price that you pay. They're on us. And that cocktail hour is between 5:45 and 6:45 when the cruise director is doing like his or her port talk for the following day, filled with information. Ends up being a really fun time before dinner. And the cocktails definitely help with making that fun. You can sit down at your leisure and our wait staff come around and take your drink orders. So very, very smooth. Here's the club lounge. This image, I don't think does it justice. Just to give you an idea, the front lounge of the Avalon ship could accommodate everybody. So 150 people could fit in the front lounge of the ship. So this picture should have been taken way further back, but it gives you the essence of our clean look and feel, very modern, contemporary. But know that the lounge is much larger than that. This is the rear lounge, which again is a small image of what the rear lounge looks like. This is where it's open 24 hours. We have sweet and savory treats and snacks in that cabinet where they're replenished. It feels like every hour on the hour they're replenishing everything. That coffee machine is fantastic. It has plenty of different flavored coffee, espresso, latte, tea, whatever you want to have. We have in that coffee machine there at the end. And if this picture was taken a little bit further back, you would see that we have the water refilling station. So the water refilling station would be bubbly water, flat water, flavored water, you name the type of water. We actually encourage you to bring your own water bottle on board because what ends up happening is we want to again remove the single-use plastics and the water bottles. And these refilling stations, there's one at the rear where we're looking now, and one near the middle of the ship. So when you're back from one of the excursions in the morning, you can go fill up your water. It ends up being a hot spot for many people coming back on the ship to fill up their water. But it's a great little touch that we've added to the ships. We talked about it already, but complimentary Wi-Fi, and again, very strong Wi-Fi that's included throughout the ship. And then we have, with Renee's group, it's all about, whatever passion you have. We're gonna bring that to life with Renee's group. But just to give you an idea on special interest cruising, generically, we have many, that incorporate beer or food or wine. Wine is a given. You're gonna be learning about wines throughout because 9 times out of 10, it's local to the region that you're visiting. So those special interests, especially when it comes to wine and food, it ends up being on every cruise, but that just gives you an idea of a list of different passions that you could be packing. And that is the adventure host. That gentleman in the middle there is one of our adventure hosts that could help you along the way related to maybe taking out a bike, maybe sunrise yoga, whatever your heart, whatever you would like to do, we can help you with. The other thing that we always encourage you to get would be the Avalon Go app. Because with the app, it's all about staying connected, right? So you download that app ahead of the cruise, and that will definitely show you everything that you need to know about that particular cruise, where the embarkation point is, and stuff like that ahead of time. But the other really cool feature with the Avalon Go app, and it's one that we don't promote as much as we should be, I feel, is, as you're cruising along, you're going to be wanting to take photos. If you take the photos through the app, you can actually journal along the way. So, let's face it, a lot of times you take many, many photos, and when you're looking back at them, sometimes you forget where that photo was taken. If you take the photos through the app, you can journal, write what the name of the church was or name the main monument. So it's all about making your trip as easy as possible through the app. But that journaling, I think, is a key highlight for downloading it ahead of time. I love this image. This is really the essence of river cruising, but it gives you a good vantage point as to what you would see on the top deck of any of our ships. We always have a hot tub on board. Everything on the top deck, for those of you who have not done a river cruise, you wouldn't know that everything folds on the top deck. So everything goes really, really flat for the low bridges, including the wheelhouse for the captain. That goes right on hydraulics, right down to flat. So it's, again, very modern, modern technology with everything, and it's all to navigate through the rivers. But what I love about this image is that is the essence. You get off the ship, you're walking into that medieval town with, again, everything seems to be angled toward the water. I've done many of these trips on land. You can imagine over the years, 30 years in the industry, doing a lot of coach touring, to now do it on the water is a very different vantage point. Everything's, again, seems to be angled toward the water, and it's the essence and the heart of each of these cities is the river. This is actually one image of our brand new ship on the Douro. So the look and feel kind of changed a little bit, but again, it's all about having that space within your room, that little angle of the bed. And I do have a video that I'm going to play, just showing you the morphing of what we did with our ships and the why behind it. I feel that this video truly describes it perfectly. So enjoy.
The sweet ships of Avalon, designed from the ground up, with an attention to detail river cruising has never seen before. There's nothing quite like river cruising, no matter who you cruise with. But there are some pretty big differences between companies, starting with how they look at staterooms. And our one-of-a-kind Panorama Suite is proof of our innovation, our imagination, and our desire to create a smarter use of space. To give you some perspective of how much better our staterooms are, we're comparing them to the average river cruise cabin. Here's the average window, roughly 7 feet wide, with an opening under 4 feet. Here's our window, nearly 11 feet wide, floor to ceiling, wall to wall. And when it opens, it really opens. Wide enough to let the outside in, because the opening is a full 7 feet, almost twice the size of the others. It's the largest standard window in river cruising. Now let's take a look at the bed of the average cabin. It faces the wall. Not much to look at there. We had a much better idea. What if we angled the wall and turned the bed? That little change gives you the perfect perspective of the amazing views out your window. We then turned our attention to the balcony. Here's the average river cruise balcony. seems like a nice idea, but as far as we can tell, there's not a lot of room for people to enjoy the views out there. And they had to take space from your stateroom to create that small deck space outside. So here's our better idea. Reclaim that space, push the window out, add a spacious dining and seating area for up to 6 adults. Combine it with the largest sliding glass door in the business, and voila! You have an open-air balcony, the only one of its kind in river cruising. And you can enjoy it day and night, no matter the weather. Plus, you'll enjoy a lot more livable space, a full 200 square feet. We gave our room an attention to detail unmatched in the industry. We offer comfort collection beds, plenty of easily accessible storage, and we even added sound dampening insulation in our walls to make it less likely you'll hear your neighbors or they'll hear you. And we didn't stop with the room. We turned that same attention to detail to the bathroom. We took a look at the bathroom of the average ship, and we knew we could do better. By angling the wall, we opened up more space in the bathroom. Then we took our newfound space and we made it luxurious. We have a large tile shower with glass doors, marble countertops, premium fixtures, L'Occitane bath amenities, and shelves to store all your necessities. And the best part is that there aren't just a couple of these staterooms on our ships, reserved for those who want to pay more. 80% of the staterooms on our suite ships are Panorama Suites. And once you leave your suite, you're likely to find fewer people on our suite ships, because with our bigger staterooms, there is less capacity for passengers, which means more space everywhere you go. As you can see, more has gone into the amazing Panorama Suites, so you can get so much more out of them. Does your river cruise do this? We invite you to compare, and you'll see there's no comparison.
So I feel that that video is really the essence of what we did. So I hope you enjoyed that. The other aspect to our touring, especially when we're doing the excursions, would be the audio headset that you see here. Gone are the days where you have to lag behind or kind of huddle around the local guide. This is all about kind of hearing everything in full, live commentary, but lagging behind and kind of, doing your own pace, but you still hear the full commentary. I'm shocked at companies that don't use these whisper audio headsets. You actually see them, right? The local guide or the cruise director is yelling at the top of their lungs, and you have everyone trying to huddle around them. Then you have others that hear the English language being spoken and they try to, tap into your group. Anyways, we're all about these whisper audio headsets, and I think that they're fantastic. Again, it's a wired little unit that you get to keep. Obviously, we don't need that back, but the little piece that we give that to you daily because they're being charged overnight. Yeah, this is really a fantastic tool to be using while doing the excursions for sure. And last but not least, before we toggle into Renee's website and going over the tour, we thought we'd have Graham McTavish from the Outlanders series be a little more serious compared to the fun video that we watched earlier related to the mishaps on the water. Look at how serious he is. And Graham McTavish, he does storyteller cruises for us. The last one he did sold out very, very quickly. But for us to be able to use him, continuing to use him, it means that we're going to have him again. So look out for a storyteller cruise with Graham McTavish. But here he is talking about Avalon.
Remarkable experiences reside beyond the ordinary. Avalon heard the siren song to elevate cruising, and they have. Smaller ships, bigger experiences every day in every port. With fewer people, but more of everything else, right at your fingertips. So if you're ready to cruise different, you're ready for Avalon. Cruising elevated.
There you go. So we are going to toggle into Renee's website. I'm hoping that this works perfectly. Let me just try my best to do this little toggle. I think your website is right here. Renee, can you see that?
Nope, you have to get out of here.
I'm going to have to get out here. Okay, let me try that. So right now you still see the thank you, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so let me stop sharing just for a quick sec, and we will toggle over. Sorry about that, guys.
was gonna say, yeah, those beds do come apart so that you have two beds. And it's
Yeah.
quite roomy in the room with the beds separated, much more than it looks like in the photo. I found it very roomy.
Yeah, 100%. They definitely separate. And what you could do is put your suitcase underneath, right? So that creates a really nice spacious room at that point with your bag out of the way. You can see your website now, I hope.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so the room definitely beds are dividable to Renee's point, and then the suitcase underneath it just creates that additional space for sure. The other things that I forgot to mention is related to nightly entertainment because that comes up quite often actually. I'm happy to tell you that our entertainment has come a long way. You know, I've been around long enough to remember your typical piano bar type setting only. Now we do stuff like trivia nights, we do karaoke, we even did a cornhole tournament on the dance floor, you know, so it really does vary depending on the night, including local entertainers we try to get on board as well. So, you know, it's not your big ship cruising type entertainment where they're, you know, full out showcases. That is hard to do, right? Based on the small space, but they are fun. Fun nights, and we again try to keep it with a little bit of a theme. I've been cruising. I did a cruise over Halloween, and they decorated the ship, so they try to get festive with whatever seasonality you're in. So with the springtime, I'm sure they'll have, you know, something related to spring, even as one of the evening entertainment for sure.
Yeah, I've always loved the entertainment. I thought it was great.
Yeah,
We've
yeah.
had
You know what?
singers, we've had all sorts of dancing, lots of fun.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And again, it's all about that. So here we are on Renee's beautiful website. And I think when you want to navigate this on your own, you would click on the women's only tab here. And then this one's near the bottom of her website. And you're basically clicking on the itinerary, which I will click on, and I'm hoping it follows, right? We are now
It's there.
Paris. Yeah, good, good. So very easy to navigate and fantastic job with the images, Renee. This looks like it is like literally our website, so I love it. I love the look and feel. And this is basically step by step, or what you can expect is the opening part of what Renee has put on her website. You know, honestly, everything you watched in the, you know, the first part of the presentation is what you're going to expect, including the excursions that we talked about are going to be included with the meals and everything else. But I don't know if you wanted to elaborate on any of this, Renee, before I scroll down.
I was just going to say there's a lot of meals and a lot of meals in between meals and a lot of great food. And you roll away from there, but really you are treated very well. And if anybody has any food issues, the chef will actually come out and speak right to you to ensure that if it's a peanut allergy, you're safe on board, or if you have a gluten-free or you're a vegan or whatever, they're very, very, very good with all my clients
Yes.
to ensure that they do well.
Yeah, 100%. I'm glad you brought that up, Renee. We actually ahead of time will manifest it, right? So in terms of any dietary restrictions or anything you have, mention it to Renee ahead of travel, and we note it on your file already. So ahead of time, the cruise director kind of has a list, right? But to Renee's point, on day one, when you meet your cruise director, they'll pull you aside with the chef and they talk in great depth about your allergy and whatever needs you need. And we have been like told that we are like second to none when it comes to helping out with those dietary restrictions. So please inform us ahead of time, and then that day one, you know, you're going to hear it. There's a huge announcement. Anyone that has listed a dietary restriction, meet in the front lounge now. And then the chef, along with the cruise director, will go over it all with you. So,
Yes. I was just going to say another couple of things so you can mosey
yep,
down.
yep.
The bicycles are on board the ship, and if you don't feel like going on the active bicycle excursion for the day, but let's say in the afternoon, you just want to grab a bike and you can go through town, you can arrange that on board. And the other thing was, you forgot to mention you can have a massage.
Why not? Why not? Yeah, honestly, it's easy to forget how many things are included
Oh,
in
I
these
know.
cruises. And no question is a dumb question. Right there at the front desk, you can ask simple questions like, do you have a golf club and a ball that I can borrow? And they'll give you a golf club, ball. You can play a little bit of mini putt on the top deck. They'll give you a little hole and whatnot. So cornhole has been introduced as well, bikes to Renee's point. So there's so much
So,
included.
yeah.
We try to make it a very seamless operation. Yeah. Yeah. So here you have it. The way Renee has set it up on her site here is day one, day two, day three. Day one is usually, your day to kind of explore. Renee, would you be looking at pre-nights? I guess depending
Oh,
on the group.
absolutely.
Yeah,
For
right.
those that
Okay.
want to come in, I suggest you come in a little early and at least one day so that you
Yeah.
can get in the time zone and then see a few things. You need your twinkle Eiffel Tower moment for sure.
Agreed, agreed. And I've done it both ways. I've done it where I've gone in the day of, and I have to admit, I don't think I'll ever do that again. You're wanting that pre-night. Just get accustomed to the time difference.
Yes.
To Renee's point, explore Paris is beautiful city to be exploring, beautiful walking city. And then it just helps you with your day two would be your embarkation. And the benefit there with the extra night would be, from the hotel to the embarkation point, we would take care of, obviously, and get you there. And it's very, very easy. There you would have breakfast and dinner are the meals included for that particular day. And then moving along to day three, this is where you see those different excursions and the different options. So you have active, discovery, and classic. And we kind of went through that in the presentation. So feel free to read these, at your leisure, but we would go over each of these ahead of time because you're able to select these ahead of time as well. And what I often say is, yeah, you selected, but let's say you get on board and you change your mind, no problem. You know, the
I've done
especially the
that.
ones that are you've done that, right? Yeah.
Yes.
I've actually done it. I've done it where I don't think the cruise director was very happy with me, but I had nothing pre-selected. Like it was, blank slate. And I picked them all when I was there on the ship. And anyway, you want to select a couple, but again, if you change your mind, no issues whatsoever. We could definitely, because what ends up happening, you're going to start talking to people and they say, oh, you're on that one? I'm doing this one, and this is the reason, and it might intrigue you. So yeah, just keep an open dialogue with the cruise
Yeah.
director and they'll be able to adjust for sure.
No extra fees for
And no
these.
extra fees, exactly. That I think that's the key, right? That is the key.
Yes.
And then, your typical, like, I'm not sure if you can see my cursor when I circle, but
Yes.
meals are breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And when we say breakfast, lunch, and dinner, one of the other things that people forget is, let's say you're off the ship and you're not going to be coming back for lunch. So there's some it may not happen on your itinerary, but I'll give you an example of when it happened to me. We were on a cycling excursion. I like to brag about this one actually. I did 30 kilometers, 30 kilometers along the shore. We kept up with the ship. We tried to anyway. And they packed us a lunch. So they gave us a little backpack and we did a little picnic. So we stopped along the route of the 30-kilometer ride. I may have to mention 30 kilometers one more time, but 30-kilometer ride, and we had a picnic, right along the shore. So, when we say it's included, it truly is included. We're not gonna nickel and dime you on things that should have been given to you and not given, right? So
Right.
that's definitely there. And then, did I mention that I did a 30-kilometer ride? Yeah. Okay.
And when you say
Dave.
breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you also
Yeah.
forgot to say, I mean, there are snacks later in the evening and there's pre-breakfast if you want to just grab something in the
Agreed,
lounge.
agreed.
Coffee's on
Yeah,
all
on the
day.
in that back lounge, I mentioned it through the presentation, but we have those sweet and savory treats, and you have the coffee stations in the front and the back of the ship, water refilling stations that we talked about. But you're totally right. We also have tea, afternoon tea, and things of
Yes.
that nature. So when you're coming back from an excursion and you just want to relax in the front lounge, maybe take your tea to the top deck. Yeah, it's all there for you for
Yeah.
sure.
It was like a high tea. Yeah, they had all
Yeah,
the little goodies and everything. It's great.
that's right. That's right. So day 4, day 5, day 6. So it looks like on your website you go over each of the excursions. Is there one, Renee, that comes top of mind that you wanted to highlight out of these days? I think this is ideal for your clients to go on and kind of look at your leisure as the ones that you can gravitate to.
Yeah,
I
I think
have,
it depends what your interests are because there's the classic excursion for day 4, for instance. You can go on a guided visit of the World War II landing beaches of Normandy. Whereas on day 5, you can do the guided visit to the Magnificent Museum. There's
right.
so many things of interest along the way.
Yeah.
And because you already know in advance what the excursions are, you can do a little homework and watch a little
Yeah.
YouTube and just sort of see which one will resonate best. But the best part is if you don't get to one at dinner that night, you can bet you can listen to all about it from other people who did go. And it's a fun
Yes.
way to learn that way too.
You know, you hit the nail on the head with that. In terms of, you end up being like family, right? With everyone on board. And that lounge at the end, you hear all the conversations happening. Like there's a buzz in the air.
Yes.
And the cruise director actually takes a little bit of a break and allows for that conversation to happen because we know that people are so happy about the excursions and they want to share them already, right? So you'll learn about everyone's excursion and ones that you may have not done but they're interested in doing maybe the next time around, right? So
Oh, yes. And all the tour directors are top notch. They know
oh,
everything. They're great.
honestly, like between our cruise directors and our tour directors, if you ever do a land product with Globus, they are a wealth of information.
Yes.
When the cruise director or tour director, when they're good, you know you're gonna have a good experience because they are literally the glue that holds it all together. And to Renee's point, it's hard to stump them. Like sometimes I'm wondering, like they're like Google, like they know everything. Yeah, they know everything about everything. So
Macarons.
dates, yeah, yeah, definitely. You want to definitely take stuff like that in. In terms of, I thought I'd seen bike. Yeah, so hop on a bike and explore Paris. So on day 8, when you're in Paris, why not take out a bike and kind of
Yeah.
explore Paris on your own? The adventure hosts again would be available if you're enough of a group that wants to do like have the adventure hosts with you on that bike tour, why not? They'll take you out. They'll happy to take you out because 9 times out of 10 they don't want to be on the ship either, right? So they'd rather be exploring Paris and showing you, and what better way than on a bike? Or one of the
We'll have our
discoveries.
picnic. We'll have our
Yeah,
box picnic at the Eiffel
there you go.
Tower. There we go.
There you go. Maybe you do 30 kilometers as well.
Oh yeah, 30 kilometers. Not 29, not
Not
31,
29. No, I
30.
did 30. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so that is the cruise in a nutshell. But in terms of everything else, like deposit requirements and your pricing and what it includes, again, feel free. I wish everyone had a website like Renee's. This is really, really well done. You could easily find all the information you need, but you also have Renee, and Renee works with one of our group's department members in-house. So she has a one contact. So if you have any questions that kind of stump Renee, which I doubt it, but if you do, Renee would reach out to our group's department coordinator, and I happen to know her name is Valerie, and she would help Renee through the process, right?
Yes, and she's
But yeah, the
wonderful.
included, yeah, but just to go over the inclusions, I'm glad you put these here. Tips and gratuities you are factoring into the fa final price, which is huge in itself. Excursions at each port, taxes and port fees, Wi-Fi by Starlink, so it is a strong Wi-Fi service, all the dining and the venues, variety of shows and live music. So that would include like the nightly entertainment that we talked about earlier,
Yes.
which more often than not, you're going to have a local entertainer. One of the nights for sure will be a local entertainer that they bring on board. But again, we try to keep it fun with different themes per night.
And
So
the tips and gratuities are actually complimentary to our group. That's
yes,
how it
which is
works.
not,
Yes.
yeah, and I should have edified that. It's not a common thing. So tips and gratuities is usually, you have to pay for them. So Renee has done a fantastic job of including that in your initial price point. It's good. What isn't included, I guess, oh, and there you have solo rooms available. So I guess those, Renee, in speaking with Valerie, limited, I guess, or I don't know how many
As
solo
long
rooms.
it depends on the availability
Yeah, yeah,
in
yeah,
each category because we're
yeah,
not so limited, but it just depends,
y-
as the ship fills up because they do
for
fill
sure.
up quite quickly, actually. So, and then that final payment is great to note that St. Patrick's Day next year. So you got almost a year to be able to think about dividing everything into 12 payments. And away you go. But yeah,
Yeah,
basically the do not or does not include list are the typical things.
yeah,
Because if you come into Paris early, your meals aren't going to be paid for if you don't take the pre-package with Avalon. And it just depends. If you want to spend 5 days in Paris, well, you're going to have a little bit different situation. So
right.
that's, yeah. And then most of it, yeah, it's just comes as your travel insurance. The reason why we don't have flights is because we have people coming from different airports, and it doesn't make any sense to prepackage them in if you're coming from Vancouver or you're going from Toronto. It's very different. So
Agreed. Yeah, agreed. And I'm glad you put that tips for a driver and guide. So, oftentimes you're only going to see that driver maybe once, right? So it's not like you
yeah.
could tip them later. That's really your time to tip them. They do work hard at what they do. And then the step-on guides, they're usually only there for the day, right? So little
Yeah,
bit,
well, I was
and we
thinking
give,
of the transfer. You might, somebody might be helping you with all your bags, and you
oh,
might want
right.
to
Yeah,
slip them something. Like there's so many other little issues that are
agreed.
incidences that you might want to just think about it. So
Yeah,
yeah, I
agreed.
mean,
I
I
couldn't
mean, we
agree
could
more.
we could list way more inclusions than
Yes.
exclusions.
Yeah, for sure.
It is
Yeah,
like a
that list.
luxury boutique on the water. It is
It really
wonderful
is. It
to have
truly
your room
is.
cleaned and to have
Yeah.
your meals made and you're turned down at night with your chocolate. Okay, you didn't mention how important the chocolate was on the pillow.
Yeah. Oh, I mentioned it. I think I did. I think I did.
How important it
Um,
is.
it is very important. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Yeah, who is for this trip? So I guess you've added this little verbiage here. One,
Yeah, we
two,
use that with
three.
all our
Yeah.
trips,
Okay.
basically, Yeah, yeah.
Love it. Love it. Yeah, honestly, you've done a great job with this website, and I would encourage everyone listening live to view it. And then it is being recorded, so those of you watching the recording, head over to this website. It is beautiful, and I guess you have Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Pinterest. Wow,
All the things.
good job, good job. And there you go. You have a little sign up sheet as well. So full name, email, and any questions you might have, you send it over, and Renee would be your go-to. Yeah, that's awesome.
Fantastic. All righty. I'm just going to take a peek here to see if we have anybody have any questions. Can you put them in the chat there or come on your microphone and ask a question? Maybe something wasn't covered. I'll give you a sec to do that. But I'd like
And
to
I'll
just
keep,
Yeah, I'd
yeah,
like to just thank everybody for coming and being on this call. And Maurizio, you did a fantastic presentation and insight
thank
of
you.
Avalon. I
Thank
hope
you.
everybody's feeling very inspired of springtime in Paris, which is my little name because it evokes some warm feelings. It's not Emily in Paris, it's springtime in Paris. It's a
Love it.
magical time to travel, and exclusive river cruising is something to get on. You can get more distance in a shorter amount of time and see more of the country through the rivers. Seine River is right there. So I would love to have you join us on this beautiful journey. And if you want any more information, like Maurizio said, just on the website there, or you can contact me by phone or email. And we'll send the follow up with this with the presentation, so you have it. And if we didn't cover any questions you might think of later, feel free to also message. And like Maurizio said, I'll get the answer for you if I don't know, but always happy to help. And
Yeah, I think that, yeah, that's common where, they may have a question that pops into their mind after the fact, but we're always
yes.
available, always here to help for sure.
Yeah. And if
Good.
you're here and you're working with, if you don't working with a travel advisor, I would definitely love to help you with the river cruise, whether you join our groups that we have, our escorted groups, or any other river. I know Avalon, like you said, they go all over the world pretty much, and
Yeah,
love to help you make your river cruise dreams come true. So
love
on
it.
that note, I don't see any questions, so I think that we will say goodbye, and thank you again for coming. Any parting words there, Mauricio?
No, thank you. Thank you once again, Renee. Again, you do a fantastic job. We love working with you. So anything that comes your way in terms of questions, we're here to help. And thank you everyone that joined live. And for those of you watching the recording, thank you. And hope to see you on Avalon.
Bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye.